Get your hands off my son, you liar!
Get your hands off my son, you liar. The roar shattered the calm of the dinner table, making utensils rattle and guests freeze mid-bite. The voice belonged to Bolu, the youngest brother in the family, his eyes blazing as he pointed across the table at the woman everyone had gathered to celebrate, Damilola. The dining hall of the Lagos high-rise penthouse was glowing with warm lights, soft music playing in the background, and the scent of peppered beef drifting in the air. But all of that elegance evaporated the moment Bolu stood up. Every head turned. Even the ceiling fans seemed to pause. At the far end of the table, Damilola sat tall in a shimmering gold wrapper and blouse, her lips painted a fierce wine red, her confidence as bold as her attire. This dinner was supposed to celebrate her husband Bode's birthday. An intimate family gathering, nothing too loud. Just food, music, and polite laughter. But now, her eyes narrowed like sharpened knives. "Bolu," she said slowly, "if you don't put your voice down this minute." "No." Bolu slammed his hand on the table again. "I won't keep quiet. Not when you're trying to ruin this family. Tell them what you did. Tell everyone here what you've been hiding." The room snapped into panic. Bode dropped his cutlery. Bode's older sister Dupe inhaled sharply. The housemaid froze with a tray halfway lifted. "Stories and First Owner Family," the narrator's voice would say here. "Thank you for supporting this channel. Drop a comment now and tell us where you're watching from." But back inside the scene, the heat was suffocating. Damilola stood up slowly, her wrapper swishing against the polished tiles. "Bolu," she said with a chilling calmness, "sit down before you embarrass yourself." "Embarrass myself?" Bolu scoffed. "You're the one who's been sneaking around. And I have proof." Everyone stiffened. Bode's jaw clenched. "Proof of what?" he asked, voice low, dangerous. Bolu pulled a folded paper from his pocket and tossed it onto the table. It skidded across the glass surface and landed right in front of Bode. A hotel receipt. Room 407. Last Saturday. 2 guests. 1 night. Paid in cash. The name attached to the booking? Damilola B. The room fell into a stunned silence. Bode stared at the paper, blinking like someone whose brain couldn't catch up to reality. "Damilola," he whispered, voice cracking. "Tell me this isn't what I think it is." Damilola's heart hammered, but her face remained composed, a skill she had practiced all her life. "It's not what it looks like," she said softly. But Bolu barked a laugh. "Oh please. Stop lying. You've been cheating on my brother for years. Years. Dammy. You think we don't see the clothes, the perfumes, the sudden money?" "Watch your mouth," Damilola snapped, her calm cracking for the first time. "Oh, I will not watch anything," Bolu shouted. "Not when the truth is right in our faces." Dupe sighed deeply, rubbing her temples. "Damilola, please just tell us the truth. We are family. We can settle this." "Family?" Bolu sneered. "Does she look like someone who cares about family? She's been manipulating all of us. And what's worse," his voice dropped to a poisonous low, "she didn't even come to that hotel alone." Bode stiffened. Damilola's hands began to tremble. Bolu leaned forward. "She came with a child. A little girl. The receptionist recognized her when I showed the picture. A girl that isn't even part of this family." A sharp gasp flew across the table. Damilola felt her knees weaken. The secret she had buried so deeply, the one thing she prayed would never surface, was now creeping into the open. Bode's voice was barely audible. "What child?" Damilola swallowed hard, fighting the rising panic. "Bode, please. Answer me," he thundered, slamming his hand on the table so violently that glasses trembled. She closed her eyes. "Someone I know," she whispered. Bolu spat. "Someone you know? Stop lying. That child," he jabbed a finger toward her, "looks exactly like someone who should have been sitting in this family. Or at least, someone who should have been. Damilola's entire body went cold. Her lungs froze. Her secret was skating dangerously close to the surface. Bode stood up, fury radiating from every pore. Damilola, are you telling me you have another child somewhere? The table erupted. Dupe rose from her chair, shock flooding her features. How is that possible? Damilola, you told us you only had one child before marriage, and that child died. Bolu shook his head slowly. No, she lied. She lied to all of us. That girl is alive. Damilola's hands trembled visibly now. Stop, please, she whispered. But Bolu wasn't done. He leaned forward with a cruel smirk. And the worst part. The man she met there, the man in that hotel room, wasn't just anybody. He's one of the richest men in Lagos. A man with no child of his own. A man rumored to be Barren. A collective gasp rushed through the room. Bode staggered back as if struck. Dammy, what are you doing with a Barren billionaire? How do you even know him? What? Then his eyes widened. The pieces were connecting in his mind. Damilola saw the shift. No, she whispered. Bode, please, stop thinking whatever you're thinking. It's not. But he wasn't listening. Bolu crossed his arms with a cruel finality. That little girl looks like you, Dammy. And if she's his, if she's with him, then there's only one explanation. Damilola's throat closed. The accusation she had buried for a decade. The choice she pretended she never made. The chapter of her life she prayed nobody would ever open. It was all rising, like a ghost clawing its way out of the past. Damilola, Bode whispered. Did you sell your child? A dead silence swallowed the room whole. Damilola's eyes widened in horror. What? No. How could you say? Because nothing else makes sense. Bode shouted. A child you told me was dead is suddenly alive and staying in a billionaire's home? A billionaire with no children? A billionaire you met secretly? With her. Her heart pounded like a drum inside her chest. She could feel the walls closing in. I didn't sell her, she cried out. But even she didn't believe how weak her voice sounded. Dupe covered her mouth in shock. Bolu looked triumphant. And Bode. Bode stepped back as if the very sight of her burned him. You lied, he said quietly. You lied to me for 10 years. You lied about your child. You lied about your past. You lied about everything. Damilola's knees buckled, but she gripped the back of the chair to steady herself. Please, Bode. Let me explain. No, he said, his voice stone cold. You will explain. But not here. Not in front of everyone. He turned toward the others. Everyone, leave. Dupe hesitated. Bode. Leave, he roared. Chairs scraped. Plates clattered. Family members rushed out. Only Bode and Damilola remained. The room looked suddenly darker, the lights harsher. Bode lowered himself into his chair, head bowed. Sit, he said quietly. Damilola obeyed, trembling. He looked up, tears glistening in his eyes. Tell me the truth. Is that girl your daughter? Her lips parted. Her heart cracked. Her past flashed before her eyes. Poverty, desperation, fear, shame, the worst decision she ever made. But before she could speak, Bolu's voice echoed from the corridor. Bro, you need to see this. Someone just sent me a video. Damilola is in it. Bode froze. Damilola's blood turned to ice. A video. Of her. Doing what? Bode stormed toward the corridor. Damilola staggered after him. Bolu held out his phone, trembling with excitement. And there on the screen, a video began to play. Of Damilola. In the hotel room. With the billionaire. And the little girl. Stories and first owner family, the narrator's voice would flow. Don't forget to like, comment, and drop where you're watching from. What would you do if this happened at your family dinner? Bode's scream of rage echoed through the whole house. And Damilola's world shattered. What do you think Bode will do next? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Get out of my house, Damilola, before I do something I'll regret. Bode's roar blasted through the entire penthouse, vibrating through the marble walls and echoing down the hallway like thunder. His face was twisted with a fury that didn't look human anymore, veins bulging at his neck, eyes bloodshot, chest heaving. Damilola stumbled backward, her legs weak, her breath catching in her throat. Bode, please, she whispered. Let me explain. That video, it's not what it looks like. But the betrayal in his eyes was sharp enough to cut through bone. Explain, he spat. You want to explain how you were in a hotel room with another man? A billionaire? And with a child you told me was dead? Explain that, Dammy. She sank to her knees, trembling. Please, please listen to me. But Bode wasn't listening. He was pacing back and forth like a caged lion, glancing repeatedly at Bolu's phone as the video replayed again and again, each loop more devastating than the last. A young girl, around 10. A dimly lit hotel room. Damilola brushing the girl's hair gently. The billionaire standing beside them, smiling at the child as if she belonged to him. As if she were his. As if Damilola had given him the one thing he could never have. Children. Stories and a Stoner family. The invisible narrator chimed with urgency. Thank you for watching and supporting this channel. Comment where you're watching from as this story continues. Back inside the scene, chaos was brewing. Bolu crossed his arms triumphantly. I told you, he muttered. I warned you long ago that this woman wasn't who she pretended to be. But you didn't listen. Bode turned sharply toward him. Get out, he growled. Bolu blinked. Bro. Get out. Bolu swallowed, then stormed away, muttering. Fine. But don't say I didn't warn you. When the door slammed behind him, the house went eerily quiet. And Damilola finally looked up, tears streaming down her cheeks. Bode. The girl in that video, she's mine. But I didn't sell her. I didn't. Silence. Bode thundered. She flinched hard at his voice. You lied to me for 10 years, he said, voice shaking. 10 years I lived with a woman who hid her own child. 10 years I believed your lies about her death. 10 years you slept beside me knowing the truth. I had reasons, she whispered. Reasons. Bode exploded again. What reason justifies telling a man that your child is dead? What reason justifies giving your daughter to another man? She sobbed. I didn't give her away to him. Not at first. Bode slammed his fist into the wall so hard that dust fell from the plaster. Not at first. Damilola, you are digging your own grave. Her voice cracked as she tried to speak. Let me tell you what happened. I was desperate. I was alone. I was struggling. The man promised. Bode's laughter was hollow, bitter. Oh, so it's the same story. The same sad tale. The same excuse every cheating spouse gives. He stepped closer. So tell me, while we were struggling to conceive, while doctors kept telling us to be patient, you were meeting this billionaire in hotels? With your daughter? Did you think I was that much of a fool? Damilola shook her head frantically. No. That meeting was about something else. He's been helping me search for her. She was taken from me. I didn't sell her. But Bode held up a finger sharply, silencing her. You won't twist this, he said coldly. Not this time. She swallowed painfully. Bode, please, just hear me out. He clenched his jaw. Fine. Talk. She inhaled shakily. I never wanted to give her away. I was 19. Broke. Homeless. After my parents died, I fell into the hands of the wrong people. A woman saw me struggling with the baby and told me she could help. She promised me a job, food, a place to stay. But one night, I woke up and my daughter was gone. They had taken her. Bode blinked, confused. His anger faltered, just for a moment. Damilola continued through tears. I searched for months. I begged. I cried. But no one helped me. Everyone thought I wanted to sell the baby for money. Even the police didn't listen. I almost died looking for her. Bode's breathing slowed. But then, after years of searching, I heard rumors about a billionaire who suddenly had a young girl living with him. A girl who looked exactly like me. Her voice broke. That's why I met him. Not because we're together. Not because I'm cheating. I wanted answers. She paused. And when I saw her face, I knew. Bode stared at her, stunned. Damilola sobbed harder. She's mine, Bode. She's my daughter. I didn't sell her. She was stolen from me. Silence. A painful, suffocating silence. Then Bode whispered. And why didn't you tell me all this 10 years ago? Her lips trembled. I was ashamed. And I thought you would never believe me. He let out a harsh breath. Dami, how do you expect me to believe you now? When everything points to betrayal. He turned away from her, his shoulders slumped, his spirit crushed. Damilola crawled toward him and clutched his leg. Please, Bode, don't give up on us. Don't let this ruin our marriage. He shook her off. You ruined it. That sentence stabbed her deeper than any knife. He walked toward the door. I'm giving you till tomorrow morning, he said quietly. Pack your things. Leave this house. Damilola's stomach dropped. Bode, no. You brought this shame here, he said, voice breaking. You brought this disgrace into my life. Into my family. Into my name. He paused. A woman who lies about her child, who meets a Barren billionaire behind her husband's back, who hides videos and secrets, cannot stay in my home. He stepped out of the room. Damilola stared after him, her soul collapsing. She had lost him. Lost everything. Except. A soft knock came from the hallway. Damilola wiped her tears and stood shakily. The knock came again. She opened the door. A messenger stood there, holding an envelope. Delivery for Madame Damilola, he said. She took it, confused. He left. Hands trembling, she opened the envelope. And her vision blurred. Inside was a letter. One line. Written in elegant handwriting she recognized instantly. You should never have come back for her. Her breath hitched. Her blood ran cold. Behind the letter was a photograph. A picture of the billionaire. Standing beside her daughter. And on the back of the photo, a handwritten threat. If you tell the truth, you will never see her again. The envelope slipped from her fingers. Her world tilted. Her knees buckled. The billionaire knew. He knew she was trying to expose him. And now he was threatening her child. Her daughter. Her only child. Damilola grabbed the letter, panic exploding through her. She needed to protect her daughter, even if it meant losing everything else. She raced toward the stairs, only to see Bode at the top, staring down at her with cold, dead eyes. Who sent that letter? He demanded. She froze. Dami, he said slowly. What else are you hiding from me? Her stomach twisted into knots. This was spiraling too fast. Too dangerously. And the billionaire. He wasn't going to stop. Not now. Not ever. Do you think Damilola should reveal the billionaire's threat to Bode, or hide it to protect her daughter? I swear, Damilola, if you lie to me one more time, I will never speak to you again. Bode's voice cracked like lightning across the staircase, stopping Damilola mid-step. She clutched the letter against her chest, her eyes wide and filled with terror. Her breath came in short, frantic bursts. The hallway lights flickered above them, casting long, trembling shadows on the walls of their luxurious Lagos home. For a moment, neither of them moved. The world stood still. Then Bode descended the steps slowly, each footstep echoing like a hammer in Damilola's ears. "Who sent that letter?" he growled again. She swallowed hard, her throat dry. No one. It's nothing. Nothing." Bode barked, snatching the envelope from her trembling hands. "You expect me to believe that? After everything I just saw?" She tried to reach for it, but he stepped back sharply. "Don't touch me," he muttered. Her chest tightened painfully. "Bode, please. Stop," he snapped. "Stop calling my name like you still have a right to. Tell me who is threatening you. Tell me who you met. Tell me why you were in that hotel room. Tell me why you lied about your daughter being dead." The words hit her like slaps. Damilola's voice broke. "I was scared." "Of what?" he demanded. "Of me." "No," she whispered. "Of losing her again." For the first time since the confrontation began, his expression shifted. Just slightly. A crack in the armor. But the anger quickly returned. He opened the envelope. The letter slipped into his hand. He read it. His face went pale. "What is this?" he asked quietly. "Who wrote this?" Damilola stared at him, shaking. She wanted to speak, but fear held her throat hostage. "It's the billionaire, isn't it?" Bode whispered, eyes narrowing. "It's him. The man you've been hiding from me." Her silence confirmed it. Bode exhaled sharply, stepping away as if he had touched fire. "So, he is involved. He is part of this. Dammy, what have you dragged into my life?" She sank onto the staircase, her head in her hands. "You don't understand. I didn't choose any of this. He took her. He has her. I'm trying to get her back." "By meeting him in hotel rooms?" Bode shot back. "By lying to me? By letting your brothers-in-law see videos that destroy every shred of respect we had in this family?" Her tears flowed freely now. "Bode, please. I'm begging you. Help me." He laughed bitterly. "Help you? After all of this?" "Please," she whispered. "She's my daughter." The air went thick between them. Damilola's voice cracked as she continued. "He told me, if I expose him, if I tell anyone, I will never see her again. Bode, I can't lose her twice. I won't survive it." Bode stared at her, emotions flickering across his face. Anger, disbelief, hurt, and something else. Something softer. But before he could respond, the house intercom buzzed loudly, making them both flinch. Bode frowned. "Who's that at this hour?" He walked to the panel and pressed the button. "Gatehouse here, sir," the security guard replied. "There's a man at the gate. Says you know him. He's insisting on seeing you." Bode sighed. "Who is it?" The guard hesitated. "He refuses to give his name, sir. But he said you will recognize him, from online." Bode's eyes narrowed. "Online." The guard continued nervously. He said, "He has information about your wife." Damilola's heart dropped into her stomach. "No," she whispered. "No. Please don't let him in." Bode turned to her. "Why? Who is he?" She shook her head frantically. "Bode, please, send him away. Don't bring him inside. Please. I'm begging you." "Who is he?" Bode repeated, stepping toward her. Her lips trembled. I don't know. But if it's who I think, he's dangerous." Bode's jaw hardened. "And why would a dangerous man be looking for you?" She closed her eyes, tears spilling down her cheeks. "Because he was part of the people who took my daughter." Bode froze. "What?" "They're connected," she whispered. "The billionaire, the woman who tricked me, this man, they're all part of the same network. They take children. They sell them. They pretend they're helping young mothers. They target vulnerable women. I fell right into their trap." Bode stared at her, speechless. For the first time, he saw something different in her eyes. Not guilt, but trauma. Real, raw, unhealed wounds. And it rattled him. Stories and Stoner family. The narrator's voice blended through the moment. Thank you for watching. Drop a comment below and tell us where you're tuning in from. This story is getting deeper. Back in the scene, tension crackled like electricity. Bode clenched his fists. Damn it. I'm going to the gate. No. Damilola screamed, grabbing his arm. Bode, please, don't go alone. Don't talk to him. That man is not safe. I can't hide, Bode said firmly. Not in my own home. He shook her off gently but firmly and walked toward the front door. Damilola stumbled after him. Bode, please. But the door slammed in her face. She stood there, gasping, panic clawing at her chest. She reached for the doorknob, but froze when a whisper echoed behind her. You really thought you could hide all this forever? She spun around. Dupe stood at the edge of the hallway, her expression a mixture of shock, disgust, and fear. Sister, please, Damilola sobbed. I didn't want you all to find out like this. Dupe took a small step forward. Damilola, is it true? Your daughter is alive? And you told us she died. Damilola's lips trembled. I didn't lie because I wanted to. I lied because I was drowning in shame. Everyone thought I sold her. That I gave her away for money. I couldn't bear to live with that label. Dupe exhaled, shaking her head. And now? Damilola looked at the ground. Now, the man who has her doesn't want to let her go. Dupe frowned. Why? She's not his child. He's Barren, Damilola whispered. Dupe's eyes widened. Suddenly, heavy footsteps approached from the front door. Bode barged back inside, slamming the door shut behind him. His face was pale. His breath unsteady. His eyes, horrified. Bode. Dupe whispered. What happened? Who was the man? Bode swallowed hard. Then he said it. Not a man. He looked at Damilola. It was a woman. Damilola's heart stopped. Dressed in purple, Bode continued. She said her name was Madame Folliac. Damilola gasped, hand flying to her mouth. Folliac. The woman who took her daughter. The woman who tricked her. The woman she had feared for 10 years. What did she say? Damilola whispered, trembling. Bode closed his eyes. She told me. What belongs to us stays with us. Damilola staggered backward, almost losing her balance. Dupe rushed to steady her. Who is this Folliac? Damilola's lips quivered. She's the one who stole my daughter. Then Bode added quietly. And she said something else. Damilola looked up, terrified. Bode's voice dropped into a whisper. She said, the billionaire is not the real problem. Damilola felt her lungs collapse. What? What do you mean? Bode looked at the envelope still in his hand. She said, the real problem is you. Damilola froze completely. Dupe gasped. What does she mean? Bode stepped closer, staring into Damilola's eyes with a mixture of fear and suspicion. She said you made a deal. A deal you never told me about. A deal you broke. And now, they want their payment. Damilola's entire body went numb. Then, bang! A loud crash shook the house. The three of them whipped around. A glass panel near the dining room had shattered, as if someone had thrown something through it. On the floor lay another envelope, identical to the first. Damilola's breath seized. Another message. Another threat. Another ghost from her past. Stories and Stoner family. The narrator whispered with suspense. Don't forget to like, comment, and tell us where you're watching from. Bode looked at the broken glass. Dupe clutched her chest. Damilola's knees buckled. What do they want from you, Dami? Bode whispered. She didn't answer. Because she didn't know. And that terrified her more than anything in the world. What do you think is inside the second threatening envelope? Don't open that envelope, Damilola, unless you're ready to destroy this entire family. Dupe's scream sliced through the broken glass silence like a blade, making both Damilola and Bode freeze. Her voice trembled, her fingers shaking as she pointed at the second envelope lying on the marble floor among the shattered glass pieces. Damilola's heart pounded so loudly that it drowned out the hum of the air conditioner, the distant honking from the streets of Lagos, everything. She stared at the envelope like it was a bomb waiting to explode. Stories under the Stoner family, the narrator would say here. Thank you for watching and supporting this story. Drop a comment and tell us your location as we continue. Back in the scene. Bode clenched his fists and marched forward. I'm opening it. Damilola rushed in front of him, blocking him with trembling hands. No. Please, Bode. Don't. I know what they're capable of. You don't understand. He grabbed her wrists gently but firmly. Dammy, move. She shook her head violently. You don't know what these people want. You don't know what they can do. Then tell me. Bode barked. Tell me what you've been hiding for 10 years. His voice echoed through the living room, bouncing off expensive furniture and polished tiles. Dupe stood behind them, trembling, clutching her wrapper like a shield. Damilola squeezed her eyes shut, tears leaking out. If I tell you, you'll hate me even more. Bode's jaw tightened. That's impossible. She flinched as though he had slapped her. Slowly, painfully, she moved aside. Bode crouched and picked up the envelope. As he lifted it, small shards of glass slid off the paper and bounced across the floor. The weight of the moment felt suffocating. He opened it. Dupe held her breath. Damilola covered her mouth with shaking hands. Inside was a single photograph. And the moment Bode flipped it around, his entire body went rigid. His breath caught in his throat. His eyes widened in disbelief. Damilola's knees buckled. She crawled toward him, tears streaming down her cheeks. What is it? Bode. What's in the picture? He held it up with shaking hands. It was a photo of a younger Damilola, pregnant, standing beside Madame Folliac, and signing a document. A document titled, Full Relinquishment Agreement. Infant female. Damilola's scream ripped through the house. No. That's not what it is. That's not what it is. Dupe covered her mouth, horrified. Damilola. Oh my God, what did you sign? Damilola shook her head frantically. I didn't sign that. I didn't sign away my baby. She tricked me. She lied. Bode stepped back from her slowly, like she was something dangerous. You signed an agreement to give away your child. No, she cried. It wasn't real. It wasn't explained to me. I thought I was signing for medical help, food, shelter. I didn't know. Bode's face twisted with pain. Do you know how insane this sounds? Do you know how this looks? A cheating spouse hiding her daughter and saying she didn't sell her, but just signed papers by accident. I didn't sell her. Damilola screamed. Dupe stepped closer, voice softer. Then why did you meet the billionaire? Why did you hide everything? Because he's the one who adopted her. Damilola cried. He showed me the truth last year. He showed me her face. And when I tried to take her back, Madame Folliac threatened me. I've been trapped ever since, between the woman who stole her and the man who kept her. Dupe gasped. The billionaire adopted your child, illegally? Yes, Damilola whispered. And he promised me something. Something I should never have accepted. Bode's eyes narrowed. What promise? Her lips trembled. He said he'd help me get her back. Only if I agreed to something. Bode stepped closer, tension thickening. What did you agree to? Damilola looked at the floor, shame engulfing her. Dupe whispered. Dammy, what was the deal? Damilola swallowed painfully. I agreed to pretend she was dead, until he was ready to return her to me. Bode staggered backward. What? Dupe clutched her head. Damilola. Why? Why would you do that? Damilola sobbed uncontrollably. I was terrified. He told me if I told anyone she was alive, he would disappear with her forever. I didn't know he worked with Madame Folliac. I didn't know they were part of something bigger. Bode's voice broke. So, you chose him over your own husband? Our marriage. I chose my daughter, she screamed. And suddenly, everything went completely silent. Only Damilola's soft sobbing echoed in the room. Bode looked at her with devastation in his eyes. We tried for years to have a child. We went through doctors, treatments, tears, and all this time. He shook his head slowly. All this time, you had a daughter. A living child. And you made me grieve a lie. Damilola crawled to him, grabbing his legs. Bode, please. Please forgive me. I was drowning. I didn't know how to tell you. I thought I could fix it before it ever reached you. I thought. Her voice broke. I thought I could bring her home quietly. Bode stepped away. Quietly. Dami. Nothing about this is quiet. This is betrayal on a level I never imagined. Dupe walked toward her brother. Bode. Listen to her. No, he said firmly. She destroyed this marriage. She lied. She cheated. I did not cheat. Damilola screamed. You met him in secret. You trusted him more than me. That is infidelity of the heart, Dami. She collapsed on the floor in tears. Then suddenly, the front door clicked. All three froze. The door creaked open. And someone stepped into the house. Not Madame Folliac. Not the billionaire. Someone worse. A short woman with fierce eyes and a scar across her left cheek. Damilola's breath caught. No. Not her. Not tonight. The woman removed her headscarf and smirked. Well, she said. Damilola. Long time. Dupe stepped backward in fear. Who is this woman? Damilola's voice was barely a whisper. Titi. Bode frowned. Who is Titi? Damilola trembled uncontrollably. She was the woman who first approached me. The one who promised to help me. The one who took me into that house. The one who stole my baby. Titi smiled coldly. You didn't think we'd let you ruin things, did you? You're talking too much. Making too many moves. She stepped closer, her gaze sharp. The billionaire wants you quiet. Madame Folliac wants you obedient. And me. Her smile widened. I want what you owe us. Bode stepped protectively in front of Damilola. You're not touching my wife. Titi snorted. Relax, Bode. I didn't come here to fight. She tossed a thick file onto the glass table. It landed with a loud slap. Inside were documents, photos, receipts, evidence. Everything, Titi said. Every truth Damilola has been hiding. Every lie she told. Every mistake she made. Everything she owes. Damilola froze. Oh God, not that file, she whispered. You remember it. Titi teased. Good. Because your time is up. Bode stared at the file, then at Damilola. What's in there? He asked her. Damilola shook her head violently. Please, Bode. Don't open it. But he didn't listen. He reached slowly for the file. Dupe covered her face. Damilola screamed. Bode, please, if you open that file, our marriage will never survive. Bode looked at her with hollow eyes. It already hasn't. He opened it. His eyes widened. His breath hitched. His hands trembled. Damilola sobbed. Dupe gasped. And Titi smiled. Because inside that file, Bode found something he could never recover from. Something that made his legs give out beneath him. Something that shattered the last piece of trust he had left. Bode looked up with broken eyes. Damalola. His voice cracked. Is this true? Damalola stared at him, frozen, tears dripping silently down her face. She didn't speak, because she couldn't deny what he had just seen. What do you think Bode saw inside the file? Drop your guess in the comments. I'm tired of your lies, Damalola. Every single word from your mouth is a new betrayal. Bode's roar shook the entire duplex. The windows rattled. A framed wedding photo fell from the hallway wall and crashed onto the tiles. Damalola jerked back as though he had slapped her with the force of the words alone. Bode, please. Don't please me, he shouted, chest rising and falling like a man who had run a marathon. How many more secrets do you want to dump on my head? How many more hotel meetings? How many more late-night calls? How many, Dammy? Her voice cracked. I swear I didn't. Bode reached behind him and grabbed something from the console table. A small black notebook. Damalola froze. Her heart slammed painfully against her ribs. Where did you get that? She whispered. He held it up like a judge presenting evidence. I found it in the drawer beside your bed. You forgot to hide it properly. Her throat tightened. I can explain. Explain what? He bellowed. This notebook is filled with dates, locations, meeting times, all with the same name, Kudu's. The sound of that name splintered the air. The billionaire. The man who stole her daughter. The man haunting her nightmares. The man threatening her every breath. I haven't seen him that many times, she whispered, trembling. Those dates are. Oh, so now the notebook is lying too? Bode snapped. Your own handwriting. Your own words. Your own secret record of every time you sneaked out of this house. He flipped the book open, reading with theatrical cruelty. April 3rd, hotel. June 11th, private residence. August 29th, office meeting. Dammy. His voice trembled with heartbreak. These entries go back years. Damalola covered her mouth. Bode. You don't understand. Understand what? He screamed. That while I was begging God for a child, you were busy having secret meetings with a man who suddenly has a daughter who looks like you? Her knees weakened. Please. Those meetings were about searching for her. Stop it. Bode slammed the notebook onto the table. Stop twisting this. Stop turning every truth into a story. If all those meetings were innocent, why didn't you ever tell me? She stepped toward him slowly. Because I was scared you'd react exactly like this. He laughed bitterly. Oh, so this is my fault now? It's my fault that you hid your living daughter? That you lied about her death? That you kept records of secret meetings with a billionaire? Her lips trembled. I didn't want you to think I was cheating. You didn't want me to think you were cheating, Bode repeated mockingly. What exactly do you think I'm supposed to think now? His voice echoed through the house like a warning siren. He walked closer, eyes burning with hurt. Tell me the truth, Dammy. Were you cheating before you married me? No. Never. Are you cheating now? No. I swear. Then what are all these meetings? He demanded. Tears poured down her cheeks. They were attempts to get information. I was looking for my daughter. Kudu's was the only one who knew something. I begged him. And he just kept meeting you alone? Bode hissed. At hotels. He chose those places, not me. Yet you went, he snapped. Over and over again. Behind my back. With records so organized it looks like a business. Pain stabbed her chest. Bode, I didn't know how to tell you. I felt trapped. No, he whispered, voice cracking. You just didn't trust me. Silence. Painful. Heavy. Suffocating. Then. He turned away from her and stared at the shattered wedding photo on the floor. Stories and the Stoner family. The narrator's voice dropped in quietly. Thank you for supporting this channel. Drop a comment telling us where you're watching from as this drama intensifies. Back inside the story, Bode's voice was quiet but deadly. You think you know pain, Dammy? You have no idea what betrayal feels like. His fists clenched. 10 years. 10 whole years you let me mourn a child who was alive. Her breath caught. I'm not the villain, Bode. I'm a mother who lost her child. He turned sharply. And now a husband who is losing his wife. She staggered back as if hit. Bode. He lifted the notebook again and flipped to the last written page. This last entry is dated just 2 weeks ago, right before that video surfaced. You wrote, meeting postponed. He's watching me. He looked at her with cold suspicion. Who was watching you, Dammy? Me. Kudos. Or someone else? Her heart hammered violently. Tell me the truth, he demanded. What exactly do you and Kudos talk about behind closed doors? Why does he have your daughter? Why did he hide her from the world? Why did you hide her from me? Tears. Shaking. Guilt. Panic. Damilola sank to the couch. I didn't hide her from you on purpose. I didn't. But every time I tried, shame swallowed me. And every time I tried to understand you, Bode said quietly, you were meeting another man. His words were knives. Bode suddenly grabbed his jacket. Where are you going? Damilola cried. To get answers, he said coldly. From the only man you seem to trust, Kudos. She gasped. No. You can't go to him. Oh, I'm going, Bode said. And if he thinks he can steal my wife, my marriage, or, he broke off, bitterness choking him. He won't succeed. Damilola grabbed his arm. Bode, please listen. He yanked his arm away. You've told me enough lies for a lifetime. He marched toward the door. Bode, if you confront him alone, things will get worse. He stopped. Then turned slowly, eyes narrowing at her. You're protecting him again, he said softly. Wow. No. That's why you don't want me to go, he accused. You're still hiding something. No, I'm trying to protect you. He burst into a bitter laugh. Protect me? From what? From whom? From your billionaire lover. Damilola gasped in horror. He is not my lover. Then why are you shaking? He demanded. She collapsed to her knees. Because he's dangerous. Bode froze. And because he sent me a threat, she whispered. He said if I expose him, I'll never see my daughter again. That stopped Bode cold. His expression flickered. Shock. Fear. Anger. But Damilola wasn't done. She reached into her purse, pulled out the photograph Kudos sent, and handed it to him with trembling fingers. He looked down at it. His jaw tightened. Is this real? He whispered. Yes. And this is your daughter? Damilola nodded through tears. Bode swallowed hard, emotions battling across his face. Then everything darkened again. He held up the notebook. And yet you still had secret meetings with him after this threat? Damilola froze. Yes, she whispered. Bode stared at her with disbelief. Why? Because I wanted to know where she is, she cried. I wanted to get her back. He stepped back as though her words burned. You kept all this from me, he whispered. You went alone. You met him alone. You let him control you. You wrote everything down and hid it. His voice hardened. And you still expect me to believe you weren't with him intimately? Damilola's eyes widened in shock. How can you think that of me? How can I not? He whispered. She reached for him, but he stepped away. You broke my trust, Dammy. Completely. Suddenly. His phone vibrated. He glanced at the screen. His expression changed instantly. Confusion. Then disbelief. Then rage. What is it? Damilola asked, voice trembling. He didn't answer immediately. He slowly turned the phone toward her, and her blood turned to ice. It was a video message. From Kudu's. Bode pressed play. Kudu's calm, arrogant voice filled the room. Bode, you're a man wasting his time. Damilola has always belonged to me. She always will. The screen froze. Bode's face hardened into stone. Damilola screamed, "That's not true. He's lying." But Bode was already walking out the door. Bode. Bode. The door slammed so hard the frame shook. Damilola fell to the floor, sobbing uncontrollably. Stories under the Stoner family, the narrator whispered. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell us where you're watching from. This story is getting intense. Damilola weakly lifted the phone. The video replayed. She stared at Kudu's smirking face. And then she whispered, "Oh God, what have you done? Do you think Bode will confront Kudu's peacefully? Or will Kudu's turn the situation against him?" Bode drove without knowing where he was going. The roads of Lekki blurred past him, streetlights melting into long streaks of white as his mind raced faster than the car. Kudu's voice kept replaying in his head like poison. Damilola has always belonged to me. She always will. Every syllable gnawed at his pride, his masculinity, his sense of family. The betrayal clung to him like smoke in a burning room. His fingers tightened around the steering wheel until his knuckles turned bone white. He needed to think. He needed to breathe. He needed space from the lies. He pulled over by a quiet lagoon spot and rested his forehead against the steering wheel. His heartbeat thudded painfully. Stories in the Stoner family. The narrator's voice drifted gently. Thank you for watching and supporting this channel. Comment where you're watching from. This story is just unfolding. Bode exhaled shakily as the city hummed in the distance. He had two choices. Believe Damilola. Or believe the billionaire who seemed to know too much. But the notebook. The dates. The meetings. The secrets. And now the video. Everything looked bad. Terrible. Unforgivable. Yet something in Bode's chest refused to accept that Damilola was capable of the kind of betrayal Kudu's implied. The woman he married was flawed, yes, but not heartless. Not manipulative. Not an adulterer. But then, why did she hide so much? His phone buzzed again. This time, a message from his mother. Son, Bolu told us everything. Come home. We need to talk. Anger surged again. Bolu. Always inserting himself. Always adding petrol to fire. Bode turned off the phone. He wasn't ready to face anyone. Not even family. Meanwhile, back at the house, Damilola sat curled up on the floor near the staircase. Her eyes were swollen, her voice broken, her spirit crushed. The silence of the house felt like a punishment. She replayed Kudu's video over and over, each time flinching harder than the last. She knew what he was doing. It was classic emotional manipulation. He was twisting the narrative to isolate her from the one person who could challenge him. Bode. She wiped her tears and forced herself to stand. She had to think clearly. She had to plan. She had to face her past if she wanted a future for her daughter. But her mind kept drifting back to Bode's face, the pain in his eyes, the disbelief, the heartbreak. She whispered to the empty room, "God, please don't let this destroy us." She reached for her handbag and pulled out the black notebook. The entries glared up at her like accusations. Dates, times, locations. Each meeting documented not because she wanted to hide them, but because she needed evidence that someone, anyone, had witnessed her attempts to find her daughter. She'd kept that record for legal reasons. For future court battles. For the day she would finally expose Kudu's. But Bode had seen something entirely different. And Kudu's wanted that misunderstanding. Damilola sank into the sofa, hands trembling. She needed help. Real help. Someone who wasn't afraid of Kudu's. Someone who could protect her and her daughter. But who? Everyone she once trusted had failed her. She reached for her phone, scrolled through her contacts, hesitated, closed her eyes, then dialed a number she never thought she would call again. A man answered. His voice was calm, deep, almost too steady. Damalola. I wondered when you would call. Her throat tightened. You said to call if Kudu's ever threatened me again. And he has, hasn't he? The man replied quietly. She swallowed. Yes. A pause. Then the man's tone shifted. Serious, calculating. All right. Tell me everything. As she spoke, fear crept into her chest. She had avoided this man for years, but he was the only person who knew the truth about Kudu's past. The only one with access to documents, investigations, and buried secrets. And the only one Kudu's feared. When Damalola finished explaining, the man exhaled sharply. I warned you the day you found your daughter was alive, he said. I told you he wouldn't let go easily. Her eyes glistened. I didn't want trouble. You already have trouble, he replied. What you need now is a way out. Damalola's voice shook. Can you help me? There was a long pause. I'll send you something, he said finally. Check your email in the next 5 minutes. Do not show anyone. And Damalola. Yes. After you read what I send. His voice dropped to a chilling whisper. You'll understand why Kudu's is willing to destroy your marriage. The call ended. Damalola stared at the phone, terrified of what was coming. A soft ding broke the silence. The email had arrived. With shaking hands, she opened it. Attached was a single document. A legal file. She clicked it. Her eyes widened. Her lips parted. Her entire body went cold. What she saw inside was worse, far worse, than anything she expected. At that exact moment, she heard the front door unlocking. Bode was home. And he was not alone. A second male voice echoed from the entryway. Are you sure you want to do this, Bode? Damalola's blood froze. She recognized the voice. It was Bolu. Stories under the Barren family, the narrator whispered. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell us where you're watching from. Something big is about to unfold. Damalola closed the laptop with trembling fingers. Bode walked into the living room. His face unreadable. His posture stiff. His eyes dark. Behind him, Bolu stood with a smug look. Damalola, Bode said quietly. She tried to steady her breathing. Yes. We need to talk, he said. His next words made her heart stop. I know where Kudu's is. Do you think Bode and Bolu are walking into a trap? Or will the truth finally begin to surface? Where is he, Bode? Damalola whispered, her voice barely holding steady as she faced her husband. The house felt colder than she remembered, as if the walls themselves were waiting for disaster. Bode didn't blink. He's in Lagos, he said quietly. And he's meeting someone tonight. A chill swept through her spine. Who told you? Bolu stepped forward with a heavy sigh, pretending to look sympathetic. I made some calls. I have connections. People who know the kind of places a man like Kudu's operates. Damalola's stomach twisted. Bolu had connections, yes, but all of them dangerous. All of them loud, gossipy, eager to set fires and watch them burn. She glanced back at Bode, studying his stiff shoulders, the restrained anger in his eyes. Bode, please listen to me. Kudu's wants you to find him. He wants you to walk straight into whatever trap he's setting. He didn't respond. Stories under the Barren family, the narrator whispered softly. Thank you for watching and supporting the channel. Drop a comment telling us where you're watching from. Bode finally moved. He brushed past her and went to sit on the couch, but the tension in his posture stayed sharp. I'm tired of waiting, he muttered. I'm tired of lies. I want the truth from him. Damalola swallowed hard. What if he twists everything? What if he convinces you that He can't convince me of anything, Bode snapped. I just want answers. But she could hear the uncertainty beneath his voice. The doubt. The fear. The hurt. Did you read the email? Bode asked suddenly. Her heart slammed in her chest. No. His eyes darkened. You lying again? No, she said quickly. I didn't read it yet because I heard the door and panicked. He stared at her, searching her face for cracks. Then open it now, he said. Dozens of excuses formed in her mind, but none of them safe. She always knew she couldn't hide this file for long. But she didn't expect to reveal it like this. Not with Bolu standing there like a guard, waiting for new drama to feast on. Fine, she whispered. She sat slowly, opened the laptop, and clicked the email again. This time, she forced herself to read. The room was silent except for the soft hum of the air conditioner. Then her mouth fell open. Her heart crashed into her ribs. Bode leaned forward. What is it? Damilola couldn't speak. Her eyes filled with tears. No, 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 this can't be real. Bode stood. Damilola, what does it say? She looked up at him, hands shaking. It's a legal report. From years ago. About kudus. Bode. He wasn't just desperate for a child. He was under investigation for human trafficking. The room went dead silent. Her voice trembled. He has a history of adopting children illegally from their mothers, paying people, threatening people, making them disappear. Bolu's eyes widened. Wait, what are you saying? Damilola turned the laptop toward them. He didn't just find my daughter. He took her. And he has done it before. Bode stared at the words on the screen. Something inside him broke and rearranged itself. Shock. Disgust. Horror. Protectiveness. All at once. He stole. Bode's voice cracked, then hardened. He stole your child and made you think she was gone forever. Damilola nodded slowly, tears falling. Yes. And now he wants to take everything else from me. Including you. Bode ran a hand over his face. The revelation shook him to his core. All the meetings. All the secrecy. All the pain. It was never Damilola's fault. It was Kudu's. But Bolu wasn't convinced. Bro, this could be fake. Anyone can forge a document. Damilola's voice sharpened. It's not fake. It came from someone who used to work on the case. Someone who knows Kudu's entire history. Who? Bode asked. She hesitated. Sun Kanmi. Bolu scoffed. That one. You believe that man. Bode shot him a warning look. Bolu, enough. The room shifted. Control moved silently back into Bode's hands, and Bolu's arrogance dimmed. Damilola closed the laptop carefully. Bode, please, don't meet him tonight. He's pulling you into something dangerous. Bode stood up slowly. Then we'll go together. Damilola's eyes widened in fear. No. He'll use me to get to you. He wants me afraid. He wants me alone. We're not alone, Bode replied softer now. Not anymore. That single sentence broke something inside her. The guilt, the shame, the dread. She covered her face with her hands, sobbing with relief and fear combined. Bode knelt beside her and gently took her hands away from her face. I should have believed you sooner, he said quietly. She shook her head. No. I should have trusted you with the truth. Silence. Heavy. Emotional. Healing, but fragile. Then Bolu cleared his throat loudly. So, what's the plan? Damilola and Bode exchanged a look. For the first time in weeks, they were on the same side. We gather evidence, Damilola said. We get allies, Bode added. And we expose him, she whispered. Bode nodded. A new unity formed between them, thin like glass, but real. Stronger than pain. stronger than betrayal. But then, a notification buzzed on Damalola's phone. She picked it up. Her blood went cold. Her breath vanished. A new message. From an unknown number. Just one chilling line. You think he can protect you? Check your daughter's school. Her phone slipped from her hand. Damalola screamed. Do you think Kudus has already taken their daughter again? Or is this just another psychological trap? Damalola couldn't breathe. Her hands trembled violently as she picked the phone off the floor. The message still glowed on the screen, dark and poisonous. Check your daughter's school. Her mind raced. Her vision blurred. Her body felt weightless, as if the whole world had tilted beneath her feet. Bode grabbed the phone. His face tightened, but his voice remained calm. Too calm, the kind of calm a man forces when panic is clawing at his throat. When did this come in? Just now, she whispered. Bode, do you think he has her? He didn't answer. The silence was worse than any confirmation. Stories under the Barren family, the narrator murmured softly. If you're watching this far, tell us in the comments if you think the message is real or a distraction. Bolu paced near the door, restless. This is a setup. He wants you two running mad. That man knows how to twist people's heads. Damalola grabbed her bag with shaking hands. I need to go to the school. No, Bode said firmly. We go together. She nodded quickly, too terrified to argue. They rushed out of the house, the Lagos evening sky settling into that strange in-between darkness. Not fully night, not fully day, but heavy with danger. Cars honked in the distance. Children laughed somewhere on the street. Life was moving normally. But their world was collapsing. The drive was quiet. Too quiet. Even Bolu didn't speak, which meant the situation was worse than his usual appetite for chaos could handle. Damalola's mind kept replaying terrible images. Her daughter crying. Her daughter calling her name. Her daughter being dragged away again. She pressed her palms together, whispering, Please God, please God. Bode glanced at her, his jaw tight. We don't know anything yet. Don't kill yourself with fear. But he was gripping the steering wheel so hard his knuckles were turning pale. When they arrived at the school, the compound looked normal. Security guards chatting at the gate, parents picking up their children from after-school lessons, a vendor frying puff-puff near the fence. Nothing looked wrong. Nothing looked broken. And that somehow made it scarier. Damalola rushed forward. Where is Kemi? She asked the female security guard. The woman blinked in confusion. She left with her uncle about an hour ago. Damalola froze. Uncle? Bode repeated sharply. She doesn't have any uncle. Yes, she does, the guard insisted. He even showed her picture on his phone. Tall man. Expensive car. He said he came to surprise her. Damalola swayed like she might faint. Bode caught her. Describe him, he demanded. The guard thought for a moment, then shrugged. I don't know his name. But he had a mark on his hand. A long scar. Light-skinned. Looked like someone with money. Bode's heart cracked. Damalola broke into tears. Bola whispered. That sounds like one of Kudu's boys. The ground seemed to shift beneath them. Damalola stepped back from Bode, her eyes wide and unfocused. I failed her, Bode. I failed again. He grabbed her by the shoulders. Don't say that. This is not your fault. But he warned me, she cried. He told me he could take her any time. And now. Stop, Bode said sharply. We don't know anything yet. But he sounded like he was convincing himself more than her. They stood there, 3 adults drowning in fear while the rest of Lagos moved like nothing had changed. The security guard frowned suddenly. Wait. I think they left a note. Damalola gasped. A note. Yes. Someone dropped something at the gate. I assumed it was for the school admin, but maybe it's for you. The guard went to her small desk and picked up a sealed brown envelope. Damilola's legs nearly collapsed. Bode took it from the guard. No name. No address. No stamp. Just a blank envelope. Heavy with threat. He opened it carefully. Inside was a single sheet of paper. Typed. Cold. Perfectly centered. It read, "If you want her back, come alone." Bode stared at it for a long, heavy moment. Bolu whistled under his breath. This man day play real games. Damilola shook her head violently, tears streaming. No, 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 he's lying. He's lying. She's fine. She must be fine. She pressed her hands to her ears as if trying to block out the universe. Bode stood frozen, not moving, not blinking, like a man seeing his nightmares manifest into reality. Slowly, he folded the paper. His voice was low, almost expressionless. "He wants me." Bolu nodded. "Of course. You challenged his ego. Rich men like that, they don't play fair." Damilola grabbed Bode's hand. "You can't go alone. Bode, he will kill you." He looked at her with eyes darker than she had ever seen. "I don't care about myself." She shook her head. "No. That's not a plan. That's suicide." Bode looked at the school gate, breathing hard. Then something shifted inside him, a quiet, dangerous resolve. "We won't play by his rules," he said softly. "Not this time." Damilola stared at him, confused. "What are you saying?" Bode didn't answer. He turned the envelope over and noticed faint reddish smudges at the corner. Paint, ink, or blood. He touched it gently. Still wet. Still warm. His heart sank. This message wasn't delivered hours ago. It was delivered minutes before they arrived. Which meant someone was watching them. Someone close. Too close. Bolu suddenly looked around sharply, scanning the street. Damilola whispered, voice trembling. "Bode, you think he's here?" Bode didn't blink. "I think," he whispered. "He never left." The chapter ends here. Who do you suspect is watching them? Kudus himself, one of his men, or someone close they haven't suspected yet? "Bode," Bolu whispered, "don't turn around yet, but someone is watching us from across the street." Damilola froze. Her heartbeat became a trembling drum in her ears. She tightened her grip on Bode's arm, afraid even her breathing would give them away. "Where?" Bode murmured, eyes fixed on the school gate. "By the suya stand," Bolu replied softly. "Tall man. Grey hoodie. He's been there since we walked in." Damilola swallowed hard. "Is it one of Kudu's boys?" Bolu didn't answer, which was an answer in itself. "Stories under about the Stoner family," the narrator whispered. "Drop a comment. What would you do if you suspected someone was stalking your child's school?" Bode inhaled deeply, forcing calm into his trembling body. "Don't panic," he murmured. "We move slowly. We don't let him know we've noticed." But Damilola's fear was starting to show, her hands shaking, her breaths coming out fast and uneven. Bode squeezed her fingers. "Hold yourself. Please. For Kemi." She nodded quickly, blinking back tears. They walked toward their car slowly, like a normal family leaving after a late pickup. But every step felt like walking through wet cement. Heavy, thick, suffocating. Bolu glanced discreetly over his shoulder. "He's still watching," he whispered. "And I think he's talking to someone on the phone." Bode opened the car door for Damilola. "Get in." "But." "Damilola, get in the car." She obeyed, sliding into the back seat, her eyes never leaving the man in the grey hoodie. Bode entered the driver's seat. Bolu climbed in beside her. As soon as the doors closed, Bolu hissed, "He's walking toward us." Damilola's breath caught. "Oh God." "Bode. Bode, start the car." Bode turned the ignition. The engine didn't start. A cold wave rushed through the car. Try again." Damilola cried. He tried. Still nothing. Then Bode's eyes widened. He leaned down and peeked under the steering wheel. A thin black wire had been cut. Very cleanly. Very recently. "This is a trap," he whispered. He disabled the car. Damilola covered her mouth, terrified. "What do we do now?" Bolu looked out the window again. The man in the grey hoodie wasn't walking anymore. He was standing still, staring directly at them. Waiting. Bode's pulse pounded. He pushed open his door. "Bode, no!" Damilola screamed. "Don't go out." He looked back at her. His voice was steady, but his eyes were burning with fear and determination. "If he wants me, fine. But he won't take you. And he won't touch Kemi." He stepped out of the car. The man in the hoodie smiled faintly, the smile of someone who knew he held all the cards. Bolu jumped out too. "Forget it. We're in this together." Damilola tried to open her door, but the lock jammed, stuck. She slammed it with her fist, panicking, shouting, "Let me out, Bode!" But she couldn't move. Couldn't help. Couldn't breathe. Bode walked slowly toward the man. "Where is my daughter?" he asked. The man didn't speak. He only tilted his head, studying Bode like a chess piece. Bode took another step. "I said, where is my daughter?" Still nothing. Bolu stepped beside Bode, fists clenched. "You better talk before I..." The man raised a small black device. A phone. He pressed one button. A video opened. Damilola saw it from inside the car and let out a choked scream. Kemi. Sitting on a couch. Eyes red from crying. A man's hand briefly appearing in the frame, gently brushing her hair like she was a precious possession. The video ended. The man in the hoodie finally spoke. "Mr. Bode," he said quietly, "my boss says you should stop looking for the girl." Bode's jaw flexed. "Tell your boss he's playing with the wrong family." The man smiled. "No. You're the one playing a game you can't win." He stepped closer, lowering his voice. "My boss doesn't want money." He paused. "He wants obedience." Bode's fists clenched so hard his knuckles cracked. "What does he want me to do?" he asked. The man handed him an envelope, another one, thin and heavy with dread. "You'll find instructions inside," the man said. "And if you fail..." He tapped the pocket where his phone was. "We send the final video." Damilola sobbed inside the car. "Please," she whispered to no one. "Please don't hurt her." The man backed away, blending into the Lagos night as easily as he had appeared, disappearing behind moving cars and street noise like smoke dissolving in the air. Bode tore open the envelope. Inside was a single line. "If you want her alive, meet me tomorrow at 8 p.m. alone." Bolu leaned over his shoulder. "This is suicide." Bode didn't blink. "I'm going." Damilola finally managed to unlock her door. She ran to Bode, grabbing his shirt with trembling fingers. "No. Please. Don't go alone. He'll kill you. Bode, please." He looked at her, truly looked, and for the first time, she saw fear and courage living in the same pair of eyes. "I don't have a choice," he said softly. Damilola shook her head violently. "You do. You have us." Bode stepped closer and touched her cheek gently. "This ends tomorrow." A loud crack echoed behind them, like a distant gunshot, or a burst tire. They all spun in panic. But what they saw wasn't a weapon. It was something worse. A scratched, battered pink backpack lying on the ground near the school fence. Kemi's backpack. But it hadn't been there before. Someone had placed it there. Recently. Quietly. While they stood only meters away. Damilola screamed. Bode's heart stopped. Bolu whispered. "Guy. They're closer than we thought." Bode stood in silence, staring at Kemi's backpack lying abandoned beside the school fence. The world around him, cars, voices, Lagos night traffic, blurred into nothing. Damilola knelt beside the bag, clutching it to her chest like a lifeline. Tears streamed down her face as she rocked back and forth. She was here, she was right here, she whispered. He's playing with us. He's watching us. Bolu scanned the area in tight, frantic circles. This is too close, he muttered. This man is bold. He wants you scared, Bode. Proper scared. The narrator's voice slipped in gently. Stories understood about the Stoner family. Thank you for your support. Drop a comment below. Where are you watching from? Bode inhaled slowly, painfully, until his lungs burned. Then he stood straighter. A decision formed. Sharp, dangerous, irreversible. We're ending this tonight, he said. Damilola grabbed his arm. You said tomorrow. Tomorrow is his plan, Bode replied. Tonight is mine. Bolu nodded immediately. I day with you. Damilola's tears fell harder. But we don't know where she is. We don't know anything. Bode pulled the first envelope from his pocket, the one the hooded man had given earlier. He turned it over. And there, pressed faintly into the paper, was a smudged embossment, the kind used by luxury hotels. Damilola gasped. Bode, that's the logo of Empire Suites. Bolu's eyes widened. That expensive hotel by Lekki? Where politicians and big men go to hide things. Bode's voice dropped to a whisper. That's where he is. They reached Empire Suites by 8:45 p.m. The hotel was wrapped in marble, gold lights, and quiet arrogance. Men in tailored suits walked in and out as if the world belonged to them. Inside, the air smelled of money and secrets. Bode approached the receptionist. We're looking for someone, he said calmly. The receptionist didn't look up. Room number. We don't know, Damilola said, voice trembling. But he's expecting us. The woman raised an eyebrow, then her eyes flicked to a security guard who nodded discreetly. Follow me, she said. They walked through a long hallway lined with expensive art. With each step, Damilola felt her knees growing weaker. She whispered, What if this is a trap? Bode whispered back. Everything he does is a trap. But we're not walking blind. The receptionist stopped at a door with a gold number plate. Room 709. Then she walked away quickly, as if she didn't want to be anywhere near what would happen behind that door. Bode raised his hand and knocked. Silence. He knocked again. A click. The lock turned. The door opened slowly. And there he was. Kudus. Tall. Immaculate white kaftan. A smooth smile sliding across his face like oil on glass. Welcome, he said, stepping aside. I've been expecting only one of you. But this is fine. Damilola pushed past Bode, scanning the room with wild eyes. Kemi. Where is she? Kudus chuckled softly. You're shouting. Calm down. She's safe. Where is she? Bode thundered. Kudus pointed to the adjoining room. You may see her. Damilola rushed forward, but Bode grabbed her arm. Wait. Bode. Wait, he repeated, voice cold. He looked Kudus dead in the eyes. What do you want? Kudus sighed as if bored. I want obedience. I want my rules followed. I want Damilola to understand she still belongs to me. Damilola gasped. I don't belong to you. You do, he said calmly. You sold your daughter to save your life. That makes you mine. Bodu's fists curled. Kudus smiled. You came here thinking you could take her back? No. The girl is leverage. You don't bite at your master's hand. Bode stepped forward. But instead of shouting, he smiled. A slow, unsettling smile. Kudus, Bode said quietly. You really think you still control everything? Kudus frowned, the first crack in his confidence. Bolu stepped to the side and tapped his phone screen. A recorded video began playing, Kudus' man handing over the threat envelope, the hotel logo visible, the voice message instructing Bode to come alone. Kudus stiffened. Damilola's eyes widened. You recorded him? Bolu shrugged. I told you. Lagos boys no day dull. Bode lifted his chin. You know who has that video now? He paused. The hotel management. And if anything happens to my daughter, or to Damilola, it goes public. Kuduz's lips tightened. Bode stepped closer. You're finished. Your business partners? Your political friends? They'll ruin you before morning. Kuduz's breathing changed. Shallow, heavy, threatened. Bode continued. You wanted obedience. Instead, you exposed yourself. Now return my daughter, or watch your empire burn. A long, suffocating silence. Then, Kuduz turned away sharply. He opened the adjoining door. Inside, Kemi sat on a chair, unharmed, crying softly. Mummy, she wailed. Damilola ran to her, collapsing to her knees and scooping her into her arms. Kissing her. Crying on her. Praying over her. Kuduz watched them with cold eyes. You think you've won, Bode? No, Bode replied. I didn't come here to win. I came here to end you. Kuduz stiffened. Bode lifted his phone. Empire Suite security is waiting outside. They saw everything. Your threats. Your actions. They're calling the authorities. Kuduz paled. Bolu leaned in, grinning. Man way use power anyhow. Karmade waitam for junction. Kuduz didn't speak again. He simply sank onto the sofa, the first time Damilola had ever seen him look small. Bode took Damilola's hand. We're leaving. They walked out of the room. Out of the hotel. Out of Kuduz's world. Forever. That night, in the car heading home with Kemi asleep between them, Damilola whispered. Bode. I'm so sorry. He squeezed her hand gently. It's over, he said. Let's build again. This time, with truth. She cried quietly, but they were tears of release. Of peace. Of finally being free.